Season 2.0 is back for the second round match of the first ladder of the season. And for our entire crew here in downtown Amesbury, and the legendary Frank Face, of course, who's, like I said before, is the guardian of peace and justice in Candlepin Nation. I'm Kyle Bruce. Last week we saw Nick Zuffelato defeat Richie Myrick, and he's back in the second round to take on Nick Norcross, who won his roll-off last year. So he certainly has his work cut out for him, and an excellent second round match we should be looking forward to.
I think we're going to see great competition out of these two bowlers. We both know what they're capable of. They're both friends. They're both young. I think it should be a fantastic match.
Absolutely, and the winner of this matchup will face Brian Fuller Jr., who again, punched the clock. It's time to go downtown and get the job done for him.
Yawn.
So, ho-hum, right.
Yes.
So either of these bowlers have their work cut out for them. So let's go down to the lanes for this second round matchup. Nick Zuffelato, Nick Norcross. We'll see you in the postgame show.
It's going to be very tough. There's a great field of competition, but I'm going to try and do what I did last time, just go out and bowl. That's all it comes down to. If I do that, then hopefully the results will show.
I feel like I have a little bit of an advantage. I've been bowling here before I could even walk, so.
I love bowling under the lights. A lot of guys get a little bit of pressure going in under the lights. I feel the opposite. I feel at home there. That's my kind of thing. So I love bowling on TV, no matter what the situation might be, no matter who I'm bowling against.
You could have been in fifth, or you could have been in dead last, and you finally finished near the top, but you're in the top five. It's just such an amazing feeling to know that you're in it and you're going to be on the show.
Lately, I've actually been starting to improve my game. Been trying to ask a lot of questions, getting a lot of advice, and I've noticed my average increasing. So while I might not be at the highest level with all those great bowlers out there, I definitely feel like I am improving, so I can be competitive against them.
Welcome everyone to downtown Amesbury. My name is Frank DeLuca, aka Frank Face. I'm here with Mark Ricci. We are underway for season 2.0 of Classic Candlepins.
Yes.
We are under the lights. We have a great matchup, Mark. Nick Norcross qualified fourth in our third in our roll-off. Thank you. And Nick Zuffelato moves on after defeating Rich Myrick. I think we have a great match on here.
I definitely think so. Nick Zuffelato, freshie, finished really huge in the third string last week against Richie. He had 4 in a row, spare strikes, spare, and they were big fills and everything. So he's got the ball working today. We've all seen Nick Norcross bowl as well, another grizzled veteran of the shows,
yes,
of all the Candlepin wars.
Right.
So I think it's going to be a great match, and I guarantee you one thing, that Nick wins this match.
I think your prediction
Yes.
is accurate.
This is absolutely
to say
true.
the very least. We hope you join us for this great matchup. We will be back right after this. Time out. Welcome everyone to string number 1 of our second round matchup of the first ladder of season 2.0 of Classic Candlepins. I am joined by Mark Ricci. My name is Frank Face. Mark, have a great match underway here as we see Nick Zuffelato step up to the line on lane 7.
Yeah, Nick really finished strong last week.
Came up huge in the third string.
Very much so. He starts right where he left off too, hitting the head pin. Got himself a split this time though. 5-7-9. All kinds of wood on the 5 and the 9.
I don't hate it.
No, I don't hate it at all. A lot of possibilities here. It's tough to predict double wood. He missed it a little bit to the left. He's still staring at 2 pins. And splits the uprights for an 8 box. Cleaning up a little dirty laundry over on the right side. And that's been Freshie's strong suit basically for the last 2 weeks, basically all last week. All he did was just keep hitting the head pin and just keep making his shots.
It eventually worked out for him.
It did. It did. is on lane 6. Hit the head pin again.
3-5-6 for the triangle.
Yeah, he's on this one. Makes that go away quickly.
So if you remember, Mark, last week he was off to a start of 8 after 2. With
He
a
already
tough
he
half
tied that
Worcester.
in $1.
Right. And here we see Nick Norcross step up to lane 7. Nick's been on our show before.
Yes, he has.
During the 4th ladder, I believe, of last season.
Yes. That was the ladder we had Brian Fournier qualify out of.
Yes. Starts out with a half Worcester left.
Nick is young. He's 23 years old. Lives in Woburn, Massachusetts. But even at 23, he's already... Wow.
Well.
Wow, that 4-pin just went for a walk right there.
Not what you expect to happen.
No. But got a 10 out of it. We'll let it slide this time. Get it? Let it slide. Yeah.
No pin intended?
No pin intended. That's right. It's pretty bad.
That's why we're here.
Yes. Nick has a league average of 132 down out of the lanes of Woburn. That is elite right there, and there's a good reason why.
So a matching mark for both bowlers, although Norcross is filling a strike, and Nick Zuffelato steps up to lane 7 to fill his spare.
In case you didn't catch last week, Nick Zuffelato is also 23.
A strike of his own.
Answers right back. So here we go, folks. I want to sit down and put a seatbelt on here because these boys are off and running. Nick Zuffelato is also 23 years old. Lives in Peabody, Massachusetts. His league average is 127. And
Could we have two?
Throws the biggest 9-drop of the day so far with a wiggly 7-pin. Nice piece of wood right in front of it. You just want to throw right at it. Nothing different. And yes.
So a flying start for Nick Zuffelato.
And this is the key, running the marks together with the big fills and keeping them running.
That is 3 in a row. Put him at 58 plus a ball through 4. Mark, I think we're in for a show today.
It seems as though.
Norcross is filling a strike here in the second box.
Nick missed the head pin a little bit off to the left. Got 5 out of it. Decent setup for another spare here.
1, 3, 4, 6, 7.
And goes on the outside of the head pin. Gets an 8 fill on the strike. Leaves the 3 and the 6 for a 10 box. Cleans those up with ease. Now he's opposite of mark by Nick Zuffelato. I keep forgetting that both of our bowlers.
Yeah,
are
we
named
have to
Nick today.
clarify for our viewers.
Oh, Nick missed the head pin but got a little late action. Head pin fell and cleared out. I feel that's a big difference. Instead of staring
absolutely.
At the 4 horsemen, now it's a run of 3. Because usually on that 4 horsemen, it's one of the back ones that'll stay up. That back corner pin has a way.
And when something like that happens, it changes your object pin. Not only that, it changes the way that that 7 pin is going to fall.
It does. It changes a lot, whether it's on the left side for the 7 pin or the right side for the 10 pin. Sometimes that's the trouble pin. You could hit it perfectly, and that back corner pin just stands there defiantly.
So he picks it up for a 10. He's at 48 through 4. Nick Zuffelato here is filling a mark. Back on the head pin.
My word. He is on it right now. Big 9-pin drop. Just the 8-pin. should have that one all over it. 4 in a row now. '67 through 4. This is one of those games that you dream about that you wish you could start every string just like.
Especially on TV.
Very much so. On the head pin again. Didn't get a great mix. Got 6.
83.5, Mark.
My word. Leaves the bucket on the right side. 3, 5, 6, and 9.
Just
slid
missed
by.
the object pin. So he will be open for the first time in 4 boxes.
Don't you wish you could say that all the time when you're
Oh,
bowling?
of course. So 8 box for 91 through 6. And Nick Norcross has his work cut out for him already.
Yes. I'm very familiar with Nick. He is on my World Championship team this year. New addition.
A fine addition.
Very fine addition. One of the more up-and-coming, both of these bowlers are 2 of the most up-and-coming youngsters in the game here. I say youngsters like I'm an old guy, but Nick hits it really well. Leaves a wobbly 7.
And you could say the same for Nick Zuffelato in terms. He's on my world's team, and
Yeah.
I think for a tournament like that, Mark, you were talking about youth. I think because it's pretty much a marathon of bowling, the youth is key to a successful team.
It really is. You know, when we're bowling 5 days in a row and you're bowling 3 string matches a day, you know, it's taxing on the body.
Absolutely.
It's very taxing on the body. And, you know, I remember 10 years ago when I went, I could throw 30 strings in the week and not feel it. Now, oh no,
Yeah.
not anymore. But no, you infuse a lot of good young talent with some of the older veterans, and that's how you win championships.
Yeah,
folks.
recipe for success.
That's how it works. Nick threw a good ball the first ball and didn't leave a good leave. He left himself the 3 and the 4. Tried to cut it over and just missed. I just noticed again we have another one of my teammates versus your teammates.
That is true,
matches.
like last
Yes.
week.
Very true.
Coincidental.
Your teammate won the first match though, so I guess you guys are up 1-0 at the moment.
So a difference of 24 pins in the favor of Nick Zuffelato through 6.
Nick Norcross though is pinning very, very well. He's open 5 out of 6, but he's only left 1 pin standing so far.
And that's going to go a long way, I think.
Really does. And Nick Zuffelato, my word, all he's doing is destroying the head pin right now. Another 9-pin drop. This time it's the 6-pin by itself, no wood. Yes, all over it. He is on point at this moment in time. This is that proverbial zone that we talk about, that you hear about. You're watching it right now, folks.
Mark's 5 out of 7 boxes so far. He's filling another one.
Oh,
Not a head pin hit, but could have been worse.
could have
Feels
been
it-
much, much worse.
Fills it with 6, looking at 1, 3, 7, 10. Got some wood in the back.
That wood should be fairly inconsequential. You split those first 2.
Right.
Much like that. Oh,
No luck there. I mean, he
No.
played it very, very well.
headpin just seemed to get caught up on the sidewall there. Just
Yep.
couldn't get back in the corner. Take out the 7, but. And she's still there.
116 through 8 for Nick Zuffelato.
There we see young Nick Norcross. Bowled with him a long time. It takes a lot to really rattle him. You know, he's had some tough strings, but then he bounces back very well.
And to say that about a 23-year-old guy, you say you've bowled with him a long time. He's only 23. Shows you how much young experience he has.
Exactly.
And there it is right there.
Oh, and there it is, and he just might get the roll.
And he does.
He does. I remember being Nick's coach when he was in the junior league down in Woburn when he was 14, 15, and you could see the talent was in there. And now here he is years later bowling amongst us and on TV and representing his name very well. Things like that always
there
help
it goes.
too. That is the way to answer. Pull yourself right back into the match.
That'll put him at 97 through 8.
And just like that, we're back under 20 with our strikes to fill.
And it's, anyone's game. Anything can happen, Mark, at any point in time, really.
Nick comes right back. Well, I don't know. Got this little 2 and 2 here. The 2 and the 4 on the left, the 6 and the 10 on the right. Nice piece of wood rolled up on the 6-10. If he can cut it over, that'll be a big help for him.
I think that would be my play as well.
Yeah. That's the idea. Just slid to the left.
Nick playing it safe there for a 9-box.
125 through 9. Fantastic string of bowling here. One mark and he's up in the 40s.
Yeah, he could still do some damage here.
That's right. Another great ball by Freshie. Am I allowed to say it? With no Rich here? And
Sure
no
you
Kyle?
can, of course.
Can we talk about the check mark?
I don't see why not.
Okay.
Our first of the day.
Yes. Those check marks are tricky, but
Not an easy shot.
No, it's really not.
There's a couple different ways you can play it, and there's no guarantee either way. So
Nick gets out of it nicely, though, for a 10 box. Solid 135. And Nick's filling a strike here. Nick Norcross filling a strike. This could easily be a tie match or somewhere very, very close. Left it out to the left there a little bit. 4 on the first ball.
the way the wood is set up, I think it's in his favor. I kind of like it, especially on a strike fill.
Yeah, I just slid by the head pin again. Still a good 8 fill. 105 through 8. And the 8 puts him at 113 through 9. So it's going to take a double to win the string, double strike, but one good spare here and a good fill, and left it out to the left again. Staring at the 1, the 7, and the 8. Some strange wood over behind the head pin.
And uses it to his favor.
The back cap that was on the head pin kept it around. Kept the head pin flying around, and it came back and tripped out the bottom of the 8 right into the 7. Great spare in the 10th box. One big ball here. And that was a great ball on the bottom. Great 8 fill for 131. And only 4 pins separating our two bowlers after one completed string.
So 135 and 131 for both bowlers. We'll be back with the second string of the second round matchup between Nick Zuffelato and Nick Norcross after this timeout.
I'm Nick Zuffelato, and you're watching Classic Candlepins.
Welcome back to Classic Candlepins, everyone. We are about to start string number 2 of our second round matchup between Nick Zuffelato and Nick Norcross. We see Nick Norcross taking the line on lane 7. And I'm here with Mark Ricci today.
Yes, sir.
Current Tournament of Champions Victor.
Thank you. Had a great time. It was a long wait. But that was then. This is now. We're trying to find our first entrant into the next year's Tournament of Champions. I say next year, but I mean this season.
Of course.
6 in one hand, half dozen in the other. This is our second match. Last week, Nick Zuffelato defeated Richie Myrick And here he is now bowling against Nick Norcross. Nick starts with an 8-box. Said before, Nick was 23. He lives in Woburn. His besides bowling, his hobby is that he collects trains, model trains and such. Yes. Used to know a bunch of people who used to do that when I was a kid. It's an interesting hobby. It's a very interesting hobby.
My uncle does that, and in fact, his whole basement is full of trains.
That's fantastic.
You know, he's got a whole setup down there that
whole city. And
it's fully working too. Fully.
Really?
Oh yeah, the trains. He can control the way they move and how fast they move, and it's quite interesting.
It's very intricate to the people who take it very, very seriously.
Absolutely.
It really is. I knew a guy that used to live around the corner from me. He had a big setup out in his backyard.
Oh,
fun. It was like a whole big city.
So Nick Norcross gets us started with 18 after 2. He's open. And we see Nick Zuffelato on lane 7.
My word.
Off to an explosive start.
That was a hammer in the textbook definition of it.
No doubt about that.
Trying to put a double on the board, starting huge. Lost it to the left a little bit, half Worcester left. Chunks out the 2 and the 8. But as they say, that's why they give you 2, right?
Indeed, yes.
That is why they give you 2.
And we actually saw Nick Norcross make this last string, so.
Ooh.
Tough 3 fill, not the way he wanted to fill out that hammer, but.
Needs to have a nice box here. Needs to get out with 8 or 9. Preferably 10. But, ooh, that is a 5-box. So, in unconventional fashion, he does match the 18 put up by Nick Norcross. I think both of them would like to just close the book on those 2 boxes and start fresh here.
I'd agree.
Yes.
We'll see how Nick starts us off. Just off the head. 1, 7, 9, 10. He's got some wood against the 7-pin. Tough shot, Mark.
Very, very tough shot. And he got him moving really well. That 10-pin stayed right there, though. Well, it's gone now. And again, Nick Norcross pinning very, very well. Aside from that 8-box, lots of 10-box. That's something you see a lot of out of Nick Norcross and Nick Zuffelato as well, but just 10 boxes, 10 boxes, and 10 boxes. If you're not getting your spares, you got to get your 10s.
That seemed
what
to me,
is that?
Yeah, that seemed to me like a great ball. Great first ball. It's got the triangle in the middle and plus the 10-pin.
What
and he makes
a
it.
shot!
I guess that's how you take care of that one, Mark.
What a shot! Quick style, too. My word. That is not an easy shot, folks. I don't care how easy he just made that look. That is not an easy shot.
Our gallery was quite happy with that one.
Very much so. I can't blame him either.
No.
I almost dropped my coffee.
Don't want to do that.
No. That's liquid gold.
I was concerned with our equipment here, but
well,
I certainly see your point on that.
That's
as well.
true. It is
course.
important that we don't destroy those. Yes,
Right.
This is very true. So, Nick's having a tough frame here. He got 5 on the first ball. Threw a good spare bid, but now he's staring at the 8 and the 9, trying to just get a pin to get out of it. And splits the uprights. Tough 8.
So tough start with the 3 fill on the strike. Steps over to lane 6, but we know what he's capable of, Mark.
Very much so. You know, sometimes you just, one bad box kind of trickles down a little bit, but it just takes a couple good frames to get rid of it. Seen several guys bounce back off of strings like this. Here he is. He does have a makeable 4 horseman with the 7 in the corner. Nice piece of wood in front of the 7-pin, and he went outside on it.
Wow.
The ball did carry the 7, However, somehow the 6-pin's standing there. Oh, it's gone now.
Now, that type of shot, Mark, you usually expect the 10-pin to stand, if any of them.
Right. We were speaking of that last week.
Right.
That, you play those 4 horseman shots, it's usually the 10-pin that stands, or the 7, whichever the back corner pin is. But
the 6 stood up.
The 6-pin reared its ugly face there. Well, that's okay. Here's Nick
Norcross.
Norcross right on the head pin.
Fills his spare with 7. He's got the 6, 7, 10 with wood. Where would you play, Mark?
Personally, myself, I'd play the 2-pinner. On the right side, try to catch that end piece. Right about there. No, he just was a little bit left of where I might have done it, but that doesn't mean I would have made it.
No guarantees in this game.
No, especially with... There's a great 10 box. That was tougher than it looked. With all the different elements that are in play anyway with, the pins and the walls and everything else, then you add in the other variable about how everybody throws the ball completely different than somebody else. So what works for you doesn't necessarily work for this guy.
Exactly.
Speed, angle, trajectory. So many variables that can make you go mad or make you the happiest man in the world.
Just like
when you do that,
no.
It's wobbling. Big 9-pin drop. Just a 5-pin right in the middle. And Nick is all over that 5-pin. That's a great spare. Keeps the pressure right on Nick Zuffelato. Come up and get something done here.
Because we already do have a close match, so.
We do. Nick answers the call. Big 9-pin drop of his own. 7-pin over in the corner. There is some wood over by where the 5-pin in the center of the deck would be, but it should be very inconsequential. And he just went a little right. He's obviously not happy with himself. But these things happen.
Interesting thing about that type of shot, Mark, is that one time
there's the 10 box.
Our correspondent Scott Moore mentioned that when you have a single pin, you have an 11-inch target because of the width of the ball, the width of the pin.
Yes.
But when it's on the corner like that, you're basically cutting your target in half.
You really are. There's so very little room to wiggle on the outside, or the gutter side, should I say, of a single pin. And look at this. That was a fantastic ball. He's left with the 8 and the 10. Some funky wood out in front of it. It's going to keep pins around. But yeah, no, that's true. If you're shooting a regular single pin, you basically have almost 3 full balls wide to hit the pin.
Right.
So they almost look more intimidating than it really is. But Nick hits it
what
right
a
in the
shot.
right spot.
Matching spares for both bowlers.
He hit that wood perfectly. Got it to bounce off the 10-pin, right off the wall, and straight into the 8-pin. That was a great shot. That was a great shot. And that answers Nick Norcross's mark, which he's filling right now. Nick Norcross with an outstanding ball. Gets 10 pins in the pit.
That one had strike written all over it, Mark.
Yes, it did.
I could see that when it left.
Those pins had no shot.
No chance.
Not on that ball. No way. That's a huge 20 bucks with the spare and then the 10 fill. Ooh, pitches out just to the left. A little bit of late action.
1-3-8.
That wood's going to roll off, it seems like. I like it with the wood in the middle sometimes. It helps to keep the pin or the ball around for that back pin.
Kind of stabilizes things for you.
Yes, it does. Very much. Oh.
So a 9 fill for the strike. Puts him at 94 through 7, plus this 9, plus this ball. 103 through 8.
And even though Nick Zuffelato, even though Freshie put that mark up in the 6th box, Nicky really put the pressure down with that strike 9. This is an outstanding match so far. This has been fantastic to watch.
Excellent bowling.
Yes. there's Nick Zuffelato answering himself
And it goes
with a strike. He answers Nick Norcross's strike.
If that one didn't go, Mark, I don't know. I think a lot of people would have been upset.
They probably would have started yelling at me. But no, that one had to go.
Oh, it had to. 4 horsemen right plus the 8. Got another fill ball on the strike.
A little heavy on the head pin there.
Fills his strike with 7.
And that is a great 10. These boys are putting on an exhibition for 10 boxes here. It's so important.
So both of our bowlers today have certainly brought their A game.
Yes, very much so.
10-pin difference through the string. Norcross maintains a 6-pin lead total.
Nick Zuffelato bouncing back very well from that tough start. But then this happens.
And then that happens. Wow. Well.
Wow.
I think Norcross is quite happy with that one.
Yes. Yes, I think we're going to have to weigh his bowling balls later, though. I'm not sure.
Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think between strings, Nick was saying he couldn't really make much happen on lane 7.
He absolutely was. But, you know, I don't think we were listening to him.
He's trying to
anyway.
do it again.
He's trying to do it again. Trying to show us all we're all doing it wrong by hitting the head pin.
Hey, learn something new every day, Mark.
It's part of the game, though. You know, there'll be those times that you'll hit the head pin and get the splits.
Of course.
Then there'll be those times that you can't hit it and you just get good breaks.
So he fills his strike with an 8. And when that does happen, Mark, you want to take advantage of it as much as you can.
You have to.
Because you know your opponent's going to...
You know, those type of breaks, they don't come around very much. And, you know, when you do get something like that, you have to, you know, pounce on them. And, you know, even if you don't make the spare afterwards, you know, you're cleaning up pins, you're making your 10 boxes. It's very important to jump on the brakes.
So
Meanwhile,
Norcross finishes with the 129.
Solid string.
Yeah, he didn't like that one when he released it.
There's a 10 for Freshie. 103 after 9. Box to box in the string, he's down 18 pins. But he's opposite an 8 box. Nick Norcross finished, so with a good mark here and a nice fill, things are going to be very interesting. And there's a great ball. There's a fantastic ball. Not a crashing 9-drop, but a 9-drop nonetheless. The 10-pin, all dressed up, ready to go. And he slipped into the gutter.
It'll be a 10 box, so...
A 9 box.
Excuse me, a 9 box, you're correct. So a finish of 112 for Nick Zuffelato through 2. He's at 247. Nick Norcross sits at 260. Mark, it's anyone's game.
It's going to be an outstanding finish to this match right here. There's not a way to predict it.
And we look forward to bringing that to you after this short break. We have Nick Zuffelato versus Nick Norcross here on Classic Candlepins. We're bringing you back with string 3 right after this timeout.
I'm Nick Norcross, and you're watching Classic Candlepins.
Welcome back, everyone, to Classic Candlepins. My name is Frank Face. I'm here in downtown Amesbury with Mark Ricci.
Yes.
As we begin string number 3 of our second round matchup between Nick Zuffelato and Nick Norcross.
I said it before the match. I swear, Nick's going to win this match.
Right. Well, you know, I can't argue with that.
Nope.
We have a 13-pin difference.
That's the
between
only
the two.
guarantee today.
Right, right.
It's the only guarantee.
Norcross is at 260 after 2, and Zuffelato at 247. Zuffelato gets us started off on lane 7. He's got the 3, 4, 6, 7. And he'll be open. And we have a 7 box.
Says here on his sheet that Nick Zuffelato is a stats guy. He loves following baseball stats and fantasy leagues and such, and he's also an avid video gamer.
Ah, that I did not know. Nick runs a great tournament, Mark,
Yes.
called the New England Knockout Bracket Tournament, in which bowlers will pay a fee to enter, and they're randomly drawn against an opponent, and they bowl 5-string head-to-head matches at a house of their choice.
Nick gets a great 9 out of a tough box.
And we're back from our short pause after a lane malfunction number 7. Nick Norcross will step up and start us off with his second string. Prior to the break, Nick Zuffelato threw a 7 box and a 9 box for 16 after 2.
Oh, the pause didn't mind Nick Norcross. Comes in with a big strike to get going.
That's a hammer.
Yes, it was.
A lot faster than his last strike, too, Mark.
Much. Much. The Pins were down there flipping a coin last time to see if they wanted to fall. And
Sure.
this time it was like the ground
Could
fell
we have
out from
two?
underneath them. That was a great ball, too. That could have easily been a double. But no flies on this. Yet another 2-pinner here, Frank.
Yes, the 6-10.
Yep.
Yes.
He takes it on the outside. Strike spare to start. That's what you need to do. When you're winning by a few pins and you start that third string, you got to start huge. Now here's Nick Zuffelato. Concentrating, trying to throw a good ball right now. And he does. Very good ball.
Not a great result.
No, didn't get the break he wanted. Leaves the 5-7. This is always a tough cut shot. It's makeable.
Oh, sure.
Gave it a great bid.
A little too heavy, I think.
Yes, definitely. So he's shooting at the 7-pin for a 10 bucks here. And just scooted left of it. 25 after 3. Not exactly what he was looking for, but as we've seen, things turn quickly.
In his previous match in the third string, he went 4 in a row, and that carried him to victory.
It really did.
So anything can really happen here.
Missed to the left. Got some late action, though, but staring at a big 4 split. 1 in the 3 in the front, and the big 7-10 in the back. Wow. Just scooted by the head pin, but threw the 3-pin around. It took out the 7 and the 10. Still staring at the head pin. Not anymore. It's gone now for 35 after 4.
Want to thank our viewers for watching us here on YouTube, or perhaps on Amesbury Access. If you're looking for more episodes, please find us on Facebook. And be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel.
Definitely.
Classic Candlepins.
And like all the videos, too. They help us immensely. Likes and subscribes help keep us going here. Keeps our YouTube channel, keeps us running.
So not the fill that Nick wanted on his spare.
No, just 3. Tough 8 in the box.
Puts him at 41 through 3.
continuing to pad his lead. Great ball there on the head pin. And the second time today.
Yes, there's a check
Only
mark.
the second time. Check left. 2, 4, 5, 7. And hi-ya, right through the middle. Nick Norcross is a fairly fast-paced bowler. Doesn't waste a lot of time, doesn't waste a lot of motion. Gets up there, gets it done.
I think that kind of keeps bowlers warm.
It does.
When that's their approach.
It does. You know, there is something to be said about, you know, taking your time and going your own pace, but sometimes, you know, some people's paces are faster than others, and that suits them.
Nick Zuffelato looking at the 4 horsemen left.
Tries it on the outside.
Almost. Still has the 4-pin.
That stubborn 4-pin. It's funny, the 4 horsemen's proving us wrong all day. We were saying that it was the corner pin that's usually the problem.
Interestingly enough, it's been the 4 of the 6 that's been stubborn.
I'm going to have a talk with those guys.
If only they listened.
Yeah, they don't listen. They don't listen. Nick just appears to be missing by a little bit now. He's not missing by a lot, but he's kind of lost the range a little bit.
Pinning well, though.
He's pinning very well.
Besides the first box.
Mm-hmm. But that's key. If you can keep getting the 9s and the 10s, eventually it does break up. Just having a little tough go of it, though. But this is what we mean by when you hear bowlers talking about grinding it out, toughing it out. You know, you might be having a tough time getting strikes and spares, but at the same time, you got to get these 9s and 10s. Fresh, you got a good 9 box right there. It's only 54 for 6. But as they say in the business, still plenty of room. And now Nick Norcross staring down 10 pins on lane 7.
One, 2 pocket hit left the 3, 5, 7, 9.
Yeah, that's
interesting.
That's an interesting combo. Split the 2 in the front, but no dice on the back. Pick 1, get your 9 box, and keep running. Oh, just slid by that pin. Just slid by. 57. At the halfway point here. He's up 12 in the game.
Maintaining a 25-pin lead in total through the match.
That was a great ball.
And he's got a split. 3, 4, 6, 10.
I don't know if you could have put a piece of paper in between
I don't
the ball
think
and the
so.
3
He
pin
came
right
very
there.
close to that.
That was incredible. That was almost the same ball. So Freshie gains 1 pin and count with that box. However, box to box, Nick Norcross is winning by 24 pins with 4 frames left to go in the match. But like I've said before, by no means is anything over.
Absolutely not. I don't think Nick is terribly happy with the way that resulted.
No, it doesn't seem like he's coming out of his hands right. He seems like he's fighting something lefts and rights, but that was,
unbelievable. You cannot play it any better than that.
No, he went on the outside and got all the pins to mix. Again, that stubborn 4-pin. I dropped that one.
So score that a 9, 63 through 7.
He really needs to put a mark up here. Help his own cause. Try to put a little pressure on Nick Norcross. Good ball. Great ball to do it. And look at this. The wood's flying over towards that. Oh, what a break.
He got it.
What a great break. As the wood was turning in the gutter, it just caught the 10-pin enough. Now it's just a lonely 4-pin.
That makes all the difference in the world, Mark.
It really does. And Nick takes advantage of his break. Takes full advantage of it. Gives himself a fighting chance. 73 plus a ball after 8. It's an uphill climb, but
yeah, but it could come down to the last 2.
That's right.
Make for an exciting finish to our match.
As Nick Norcross with a big 9 drop of his own. Staring down the 7-pin. There's a great picture-in-picture shot of him in a single. Oh, and he just slid to the right of it.
He lost that one there. So.
Yes, he did.
So he'll be open.
And right in the face for the 10 box. Again, that's kind of a little frustrating. Miss the spare, and then you come back and you hit the thing as hard as you can right in the middle of the pin. But
can't let that affect you, though.
No, you really can't.
You can't.
You can't. You just have to drop it and move to the next box, try to get something done. Nick staring at the 4 horsemen with the back pin.
So he'll be open. This is an opportunity for Zuffelato to.
This could be a big break for Nick Zuffelato.
Pick up some pins, yeah.
He just picked up 2 pins in the count with that 8 box. And now he's staring right here. It's 33 pins, but he does have a ball. Big fill in another. 23. Okay. Oh, my fault. I'm sorry. I was staring at our scoreboard. And I messed up that addition a little bit. It's 23 pins.
Minus this fill.
Minus the 1 fill. Thank you, Frank.
Sure. Head pin.
And right on time. Nick
Zuffelato
Zuffelato with the big strike.
And the body English there expressed it all, Mark.
Yes, that's as big as it gets, right? When you want a strike, you need a strike.
And it's where you want it, when you want it.
When you throw it, it's hard to contain. Now here he is, staring down 10 pins on lane 6. Double is
Bonus.
huge. Right through the center. But we got a big split. Not as big of a split as it was. It was a 3 and 2, but he carried the 3 and the 4 pin. Now we're staring at 6, 7, 10.
Interested to see where he plays this, Mark.
I don't know if a lot of this wood is helpful, but we will see. All the way down on the red line, threw a pin over, just behind the 7.
Can't come much closer than that.
No, you can't. So that puts him at 102 after 9. 112 in the game.
So finishes with a 359.
Nick Norcross needs 16 pins to tie, 17 to win.
Good match. Great match.
Great match. I mean, you look at 16 to tie, 17 to win. You look at some of these guys, oh, it shouldn't be a problem.
But you never know.
But you just don't know. You just don't. Well, he's halfway there.
So an 8 box.
That is an 8. So here we go, folks. He has 1 frame, 8 box ties, 9 box or anything better wins.
I want to thank you for tuning in. Very exciting conclusion to our match here.
Very exciting conclusion. Nick with a great ball. There's his 8. Yet another 2-pinner. 6-10 in the right corner.
In this case, cherry picking would be good.
This is okay. And he makes it. Puts it down. Wins the match. So Nick Norcross will be moving on to bowl the number 2 seed next week. Brian Fuller Jr., a man who says he's very familiar with this bowling alley. There's an 8 fill. 109 for Nick Norcross.
So a 10-pin victory. Yes, 10-pin victory for Nick Norcross over Nick Zuffelato. Very exciting conclusion to our second round matchup here on Classic Candlepins. We will be back to talk to our bowlers after this timeout. We're back on Classic Candlepins with our runner-up bowler Nick Zuffelato in this second round matchup of our first ladder series of season 2.0. Nick, you bowled very well. So did the other Nick, but a total of 10 pins, 369 to 359. You made a good run in the final 3 boxes and came up a little bit short.
Yeah, I mean, Nick bowled awesome today. He was the better bowler, and thought I hit that last shot, but what are you going to do?
Came quite close.
That's right. I definitely was in it until the very last box. So great match by Nick, and can't wait to come back and give it another try.
We hope you do. Congratulations
Absolutely.
for making
Thank
it
you.
this far. Thanks for coming.
Yeah, definitely. I thought you bowled well both of your matches today. Just 1-1 on the day. Thanks for bowling. You're awesome, and I'm sure we'll definitely see you again in the next ladder.
I'll be back.
Fantastic,
Absolutely.
fantastic. Well, thanks for watching today from the lanes here in downtown Amesbury. Next week, it'll be the 3-seed Nick Norcross against the 2-seed Brian Fuller Jr. on Classic Candlepins.
Welcome back to the Classic Candlepins Control Center. 2 rounds are complete in the first ladder of Season 2.0, and Nick Norcross defeats Nick Zuffelato 369 to 359, and he'll move on to semifinal week next week against Brian Fuller Jr. And this was a really close match, Frank.
Very close. 10 pins is still a victory, no matter what. But you want to have a little bit more of a cushion than that. But overall, 10 pins is going to get you through.
Right, absolutely. And I think this was a match where both bowlers, when they did mark, I think Zuffelato had 10 marks and Norcross had 11. I think their fills averaged right about 8, so they did very well with that. But it seemed like the nail in the coffin is that third string for Zuffelato, who goes open the first 7 boxes.
Right. Despite his good pinning, he only left a few pins up during that string. The marks is really kind of what sealed the deal for Norcross, and it was just enough.
Right, absolutely. So we have an excellent matchup. Semi-final week will be next week on Classic Candlepins, as Nick Norcross will take on Brian Fuller Jr. For our entire crew and the legendary Frank Face, I'm Kyle Bruce, and we'll see you next week on Classic Candlepins.